Good morning. It is day 4 of corn harvest on the farm. There's where we left off last night. A little bit of space in the crib yet. I am going to get this crib ready. Dad and I are going to get the boards in that, make sure that it's got everything it needs, because one more load in here and we'll be full and we'll need to move the elevator again. And then we are going to go out and pick and finish up. Also, it seems to be snowing, but I think that's gonna pass. It's kind of a weird little flurry this morning. Oh, why? Why, Dad?
I don't know. The gods are not with us today.
The gods have frowned upon us. This is really actually not good. This needs to stop. This needs to stop pretty soon, in fact. It's starting to accumulate. This is not great. This is like October 16th. I'm not sure. I can't remember what day it is. But it's too early for snow, let me tell you that. Oh, look at Dookie. Well, the messy snow was stopped. We got the elevator moved. I have just finished greasing up the picker. The tractor's warming up, fueled up. I still have to oil the chains on the picker. But now we've got kind of an issue where everything's wet. And, unlike a combine, a corn picker doesn't have sieves and stuff that can gum up. But if we try to pick corn and it's wet, it'll wrap up on the snapping rollers. And then that can potentially break the snapping rollers. And a job you do not want to do is replacing a snapping roller. But here comes the wind. All right, Dad, just headed out to the field. I'm going to fire this up because now I'll be running loads on the road since we're trying that field by the county road again. That's all we have left to do, so one way or another we got to get it done today. So I'm switching back to the 40-20, and we should be able to crank out some loads here. We're not sure if the corn is dry enough. We figured we'd at least give it a shot. It didn't seem like that snow wetted stuff down too much, and now the wind is blowing hard, so it's drying stuff off pretty quick. So with any luck, we should be able to go. When you're picking corn, a little bit of moisture on the ears, if it's just the right amount, actually helps a little bit because it'll help strip the husks off a little bit better in the husking bed. But too much is a bad deal. Too dry isn't really a problem, except that everything shells out. Anyway, there's a fine line, right? There's pluses and minuses to everything. So here we go. Okay, scratch that. She's not gonna start. I guess for this first load, I'm gonna take my life in my hands and take the M down the road. I did just check. Sometimes we have a can of starting fluid in the cab, and I had neglected to see if there was any in there, but there's not. So it's the M. Here we go. Well, guys, I'm embarrassed as heck. When I couldn't get the 40-20 going, I hopped on the M. I took off down the road. I got all the way to the field here. I realized I didn't hook up to the wagon. So Dad was coming over the hill, and I spun around and headed back for home, and he didn't know what was going on. I had to rip back there, get the wagon, come racing back again. Anyway, I got here. We had a good laugh. I'm gonna run this load home. I'm gonna come and get him. We're gonna pull start the 40-20 so we can actually get something done. All right, I brought Dad home. We're gonna pull start the 40-20 so we can switch back. Here we go. All right, there goes Dad, back to the field. So far today has been a little bit of a mess. I'm just hoping it'll get better from here. It is lunchtime. Dad had initially said this morning we can do 5 loads before lunch. And I guess if we'd have been going at a normal pace, we would have, but we got 1. But the sun seems to be coming out. So we're gonna eat, and then we'll try this again. Lunch is over, Dad's back at it, the sun is out. So now's our chance. If we're ever gonna make some good time and get done, it's gotta happen right now. Well, despite the tribulations, we're moving along here. Dad's got a pretty good swath carved out of this field, as you can see. Still not sure we're gonna fill that crib. I think maybe I might have been a little bit over-optimistic. Certainly gonna get some corn in it, but I don't know. That's a big chunk of this field done so far, and I've still got a long way to go on that crib, so we'll see. I might get surprised, but I'm getting a little less hopeful with each load that I bring home. All right. One more, keep her going. So as we're getting close to being done here, I wanted to take kind of a minute and wax philosophical. I really hope that everyone's enjoyed this little 4-part series on picking corn here in 2020. I think this is kind of fun, and I really wanted to present this as best I could for the viewers on my channel, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is almost like a living history kind of thing. Basically what you're seeing here is corn harvest circa the mid-1970s, you know. The 686 there is a 1976. The corn pickers from about that era. All of our equipment is pre-1980 for the most part. So it's really kind of a step back in time to see how this was all done and the kind of speed and the whole process that it goes at. You know, you can find a video anywhere on YouTube of a person picking corn with an old corn picker, but to really see the whole thing, start to finish, all the little odds and ends that go into it, moving the elevator, greasing the equipment, prepping things, the speed that the whole harvest moves at, that's kind of fun. I like to present that. I studied history in college, and so to be able to provide kind of a historical perspective, I think is meaningful. And then the other thing is, it kind of demonstrates that for small farms like us, this is still a way for us to get things done. You know, most people of any scale and size are using combines and modern harvesting equipment, and that's great. I love to see that stuff. I love to watch that on YouTube and see how the big farmers do it. But this is still a viable economic model for small farms like us. Everything here is paid for, and even though we can't go as fast as those big operators, we can get the job done and we can make money doing it, and we can use this older stuff to do it. So even though it's, you know, decades old and way outdated in terms of technology, it's still serving a valuable purpose and getting the job done. So we're pretty proud of that, and we like to do it this way. And like I said, for our model, for me, direct marketing corn to consumers for wildlife feed, this is a perfect way to get it done. So anyway, I better go get him a wagon. So we'll continue this a little later, maybe, if I can remember where I left off. I do have to say, I think this corn variety we planted this year is pretty good. Got some really nice big ears of corn, so I think that's a testament both to the growing year we had and to the management practices that we implemented. About 3 loads left to go. Just a couple more loads to go and we'll be done. For what it's worth, I will say I like hauling the loads better with the Farmall M than I do with the 4020. I like that the M is easier to see off of, and you can pull up to the elevator a little bit better with it, and with the front end, the narrow front end, it's a lot more nimble for turning. But if you got to go on the road, the 4020 is the king right there. That thing has, you know, it's got the synchro range transmission in it, so you can pull the load across the field in 6th and then drop it right into 8th when you get on the road and take off, and it doesn't even notice that the wagons are behind it. When you come up to an intersection, it's got hydraulic brakes, so it's got plenty of stopping power, and the M sure doesn't have that, so it's got a lot more weight behind it. It just doesn't even seem to notice that the wagons are there. So the 4020 is definitely the horse of this farm, and it's nice that we've got it for situations like this. It doesn't get used as much as it used to since we quit doing tillage. You know, this used to do all the fall plowing and chisel plowing, and now it kind of doesn't do as much because the 686 is a better general chore tractor for this size farm. So the 4020 just gets pressed into action every now and then. But it's a good tractor, and I'm glad we have it, and it's nice for hauling loads on the road. It's a lot safer. This will be the last load. Dad's just about done. I decided to ride along with him, get a little bit of footage of us finishing up. Most of the field's done. You can see the cover crops. We're just heading to the other end of the field so that the number of rows left kind of evens it out so that he ends up where he wants to finish. The corn's all picked?
Yes, it is.
Yay! Now we just have to unload a couple loads and we will really be done.
Yeah, God willing, and the creek didn't rise.
Yeah, our snowy morning actually kind of turned into a decent day, so go figure. We came so close, guys. I would say another load and a half would have filled it. So we were that close. Oh, well, hey, it was a good guess, right? 3 and 7/8 of a crib. Well, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed the chronicle here of the 4 days of corn harvest. We actually did pretty well for our equipment. I usually budget 5 days. Just that extra day is figured in there for equipment breakdowns or adverse weather. And because we didn't have any major breakdowns, a wheel didn't fall off the corn picker. Can't say as much for the combine, but at least the wheels stayed on it, and no like chains flew off. We didn't have any major issues, so things moved right along. We did a couple of long days, which helped, so we got it done here in 4 days. Now, by comparison to, say, a modern harvest, I was just recently watching one of the Millennial Farmer videos, Zach Johnson, fellow Minnesotan, and he was in his combine harvesting corn, and the meter on it at that point said he was harvesting close to 5,000 bushels per hour. Well, if you look at these 4 cribs, each crib holds about 1,000 bushels if you shell that corn out. Maybe a little more when they're really full. So there's about 4,000 bushels in those cribs of shelled corn. So it took us 4 days to harvest what it would take an hour with a modern equipment set up. Now, of course, we have our fields broken into smaller parcels than most big farmers are running, that they would have that 26 acres all in one field easily and then some more. So, you know, you factor in the headlands and the turnaround time and all that stuff. But just a little comparison. 1970s style corn harvest takes 4 days. Modern corn harvest is about an equivalent to 1 hour. So chew on that a little bit. It's just something to think about. So now that everything's unloaded, what's the next step? Basically, we just have to clean up, put equipment away, put the wagons away, clean up the spilled corn around the cribs here. We'll throw that on the elevator and put it in that last crib. Put the caps on the top of the corn cribs. I am going to have to take and paint up a couple more of those. We've got a couple of damaged ones sitting around here that I'll fix on, and we can put them on in the next couple of weeks. It's not really urgent to get them on top, and just generally get stuff put away. But for now, that's that. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and we will see you next time around.